There's a new Victorinox Swiss Army model, and you won't believe what it's called. It's the Swiss Army Automatic. Yep, that's what it's called. There's also quartz versions, and you guessed it, Swiss Army quartz. And there's also a Swiss Army chronograph. Okay, so they didn't spend a lot of time coming up with the name for the model, so what about functionality and looks? This new model takes a similar case design to other VSA models like the 1884 Journey, the Diver Pro, and even the new Inox, though it's not the exact same case. It's all stainless steel, 42 millimeters, comes in either a blue or black dial, and can be had with a few strap options, one of them this mesh bracelet, which I think is a first for the brand, at least to my recollection. The movement is the Sellita SW200-1. It's of course Swiss made, and it's currently priced at $1,075. How does it stack up to other field style watches? Let's find out. When you think of Victorinox Swiss Army, or at least when I think of the brand, I think of field or diver watches I can wear in most conditions and that can handle pretty much anything I can throw at it. No, they're not a G-Shock, though that first iteration of the Inox did come with that rubber bumper type thing. But this new Swiss Army Automatic looks the part, at least on first glance. But when looking at the price and thinking of the brand itself, a few things have me scratching my head. Again, I do really like the look of this piece, and I like the fact that it's 42 millimeters and that it's relatively thin at only 11 millimeters, which means it can fit under a lot of shirt or jacket cuffs. But I think that's where my issue comes in. You've heard the term dress diver. Well, this could be described as a dress field watch, or maybe a dress sport watch, or just a sport watch, as this is not what I would consider to be a rugged tool watch at all. Let's start with that crown that does not screw down. It's listed at 100 meters, which will probably hold up to rain or light submerging, but I still want a screw down crown. This is something I have mentioned with a lot of watches over the years. It's subjective, of course, but I like that reassurance of a screw down crown. Now, the bezel is aluminum, which is not the first watch I have seen at this price with an aluminum bezel. Hell, Omega just introduced like the 100th version of the Seamaster Diver, and that has an aluminum bezel, and the MSRP on that one is around $6,000. Yet, I would have expected maybe a hardened DLC bezel at almost $1,100, if not a matte ceramic. The bezel markings are a touch odd as well. This is a fixed bezel, which is fine for the style of watch, but what's up with that triangle where the 15 should be? As best as I can tell, this is just a design choice and not a functional one. Is it pointing to the crown, or is this something I'm not familiar with? If you know why this triangle is here instead of the 15, let me know. Now the dial is really legible. It's a gravel texture dial. It's a darker blue, and this is more of a muted blue color. And the hands are skeletonized, but they don't bother me on this piece as they're large enough and I don't have an issue seeing the time at a glance. Now the second hand is tipped in red. I would have preferred dipped in lume paint. But there are really two standout things on this dial, one which I feel is a strange omission, and the other one, well, the other one I really can't begin to explain. Something that's been missing from a lot of VSA watches lately is military time. Now the Journey models still have it, but it's noticeably absent on all their other models currently available, even on this one that's dubbed the Field Force model. Now it was just a few years ago that they came out with this Heritage model, and that one has the 24-hour time. And while the lack of a center military time display does make for a cleaner dial, it just feels odd to leave them off a field watch. But again, that may be the goal of this one. It looks like a field watch, but it's not. Now the other issue is what is going on with the minute second hand track on the dial. I really just can't figure this one out. What's with all the lines? Instead of 4 hash line marks between the applied numbers, there are 9. 9. I can't make sense of it. Good luck accurately trying to track or time something. Now, the date is located at the 6 o'clock position, though, something I'm always a fan of. And hey, look, there's another triangle. I'm not sure why, but it's pointing to the date, and I guess it's so the other triangle doesn't feel lonely. In the dark, the lume is good. It's not great, and this is not the first time I have mentioned that VSA needs to step it up in the lume department. It'll glow for a few hours, but the lume application is lacking, and it looks a little grainy, and it's not a watch that's going to glow all night, that's for sure. Around the back, you do have an exhibition case back to see the Sellita SW200-1, and VSA tells me it does have a rubber retainer ring between the dial and movement to reduce shock and vibration, which is at least good to know, and it gives this watch a little bit of that tool watch spec. Etched onto the crystal, though, which I believe to be mineral and not sapphire like the front, is a Swiss Army knife. Now, I don't know why it bothers me on here, but I could do without the illustration. If you're going to do a display case back, at least let me see the movement clearly. Now, something that I thought was a first for VSA was this mesh bracelet, but I did find at least one other example using the mesh, and that's this infantry model. Now, I'm not sure how old this model is, but it is interesting to see that it does have the 24-hour time on the dial. But a friend asked me, how is the mesh? Is it a cheap mesh or a really solid one? And I couldn't really tell him because I'm not a mesh aficionado, and I'm honestly not sure how many watches I've reviewed with mesh or even inspected in person. I will note a few things though. The links are not individual. You don't size this with a pin tool or anything. There's no screws, and they're all soldered together, so there's no flow to the bracelet. It does have a double closed clasp though. I found it easy enough to fit on my 7.5-inch or 19.05 centimeter wrist. You take a little screwdriver, or to be honest, I just use my pocket knife, and you go and you pop this open and slide it into place and lock it in. To put the watch on your wrist, you hook the metal claw onto the bar, press it down, and then you pull over the safety bar. As usual with Swiss Army, it's a 21mm strap, not 22. So if you want a different strap than this mesh, you'll have to go custom or buy an official strap from them. It's also not a very long bracelet, as you can see where I had to put it on the clasp for my wrist. There's really not a lot of room left. But I have enjoyed this piece on the wrist. At 42mm, I love the size, I love how thin it is, and while my experience with mesh straps is limited, I've enjoyed it on the mesh. I'd probably put this one on a leather or two-piece canvas in the long term, but the mesh does dress it up a bit. And that brings us back to dress field watch. I'm not sure what VSA intended this watch to be. It's definitely not what I would call a field watch, not in the traditional sense anyways, and not what VSA has produced in the past. And the things like non-screw down crowns, the wonky hash marks on the dial, the aluminum bezel. For almost $1,100, it's hard to say who or what this watch is for. I don't find the look offensive. Again, I quite like the case design, but this feels more like a fashion piece to me. And that's not something I ever thought I would say about Victorinox. I'm sure there are many who will like this piece. We all have different tastes, but even being the automatic version, I find this price hard to swallow. That's my take. Let me know yours down in the comments. Links are in the description to a written article and, of course, the VSA website. You could follow us on social media to see what we have going on before the review hits. We are on Facebook and Instagram. It's at Watch Report. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.